now this boy is growing up, lovely chap. He loves gymnastics, stuff like that. Dr. Kha would like him. Physical, loves swimming, wrestling, gymnastics. And who does he meet there? Rakhal. Remember that Rakhal? The one who loves to think God like, with foam. Krishna and Mother Goddess. They become best of friends. They hit it off very well. And Narendra has now joined the Brahmo Samaj of Keshav Chandra Sen. Remember I mentioned Keshav Chandra Sen in the last talk. The Brahmo Samaj is saying God with form, discard. God without form is the way to progress. This is outdated idea. Throw it out. And Narendra and Rakhal visit and listen to this because very popular speakers, they all visit. And they are kind of captivated. And Narendra thinks, this makes sense. This idea of God with form kind of a bit tricky. This sounds right. So if he saw Rakhal anytime passing by a temple, in India if you pass by a temple you always go like that. And every time Rakhal, he said, no, stop it. You're not supposed to do that, Rakhal. And Rakhal is a gentle boy, easily intimidated. So every time they think he would avoid Narendra and go a different way because this guy will tell him off. And he's a gentle fellow, he can't take it. And this guy would run away. Ramakrishna was watching this fun. So he told Narendra in later time, stop harassing this boy, leave him alone. He's got his own way of making spiritual progress. Don't insist on your way. Let him progress as he likes. You have to stop him, admonish him. Let me tell you about the first meeting, or if you like, the first meeting when Vivekananda Narendra visits Ramakrishna. Now we see this boy, again, what attracts this boy? Look, this shows your sincerity. If you want to relate to religion purely as an intellectual thing, something to feel that you've done as well, you've done this, you've done that, you've done cruise in the world, you've done visited this place, you tick your name, okay, we've done religion, tick, then Ramakrishna is not for you. When there is a serious desire within your heart, not to just believe, but to experience spirituality, experience this God, when a serious desire arises in you, that you want to experience this and nothing less will do, then you'll be drawn by this personality. Look, there's nothing that will draw you to him. He's not holding Shankh and Chakra and Gada, nothing. Look at him. So ordinary. So unless that's sincere, this love of experiencing God is not there, you will not be drawn by him. You will not be attracted to him at all. Because you are looking for superficial and doesn't give you any superficial. When you are interested in the depth of spirituality, this idea of experiential religion, you'll be drawn to him. And this Narendra at the age of 17 is now struggling with the idea of God. Where is the proof of God, he says. Everybody's talking about it. But because he's now studied Western philosophy, he's well versed in Western philosophy. Already at the age of 17, he's studied the major Western philosophers. And he's beginning to doubt the idea of God. Because he sees suffering go around and says, this is not right. Something is not right here. He's struggling with the idea of God. It doesn't fit in very well. So now what else can do? What can a youngster do? The best thing is to find somebody who can affirm, who can give credential to God, saying, yes, God is for real. Where can he find? So he said all these religious personalities, normally who would there be? Kathakars, Puranis, will turn up. He would go and visit them, listen to their stories and all that, and at the end of it, he would go in front of everybody, he would fire a very pointed question and say, sir, you talk about God, have you seen God? Nothing less will do. It's not a very blunt, point blank question. Have you seen God? And all of them, scratch their heads and say, well, it's a feeling and we'll get it later on. And this is not a feeling. It's something that is a yes or no, black and white. It can't be grey. And they all gave him grey answers, grayscale answers. He rejected all of them. He has no time. In fact, the more he asked, the more perturbed he became, thinking there is no God. All these guys are making up. It's just storytelling. Just for us so that we regulate ourselves and live well with each other and behave well. You create all these gods and goddesses so we behave well. Society. It's a social phenomena. Anthropology. There's nothing more to it. So he became more and more perturbed, thinking that everybody's making it up. The whole thing is kind of, that king without clothes. Everybody's saying, yes, you are wearing clothes. And he's kind of wandering around naked. This is like that. It's just made up. It's not for real. He became very agitated. More and more agitated. He got more sure there is no God. And during this process, he also came across this Devendranath Tagore. Rabindranath Tagore's father. He was supposed to be Maharshi Devendranath Tagore. So he said, Maharshi, must go and see him. Maharshi means he must have seen God. And he went to visit him. He just went and opened his door of his study without announcement, entered in a very kind of excited voice, said, "Sir, have you seen God?" He just wanted somebody to approve, saying, "Yes, I have." And Maharishi Devendranath Tagore looked at him. He said, "These are poets, flowery chaps." He said, "My boy, you got eyes that are like lotuses." And I am not looking for somebody to praise my eyes. Have you seen God or no? And the answer was basically, kind of waffle. He walked away. Couldn't be bothered. And he was getting more and more worked up about it. At this time, you see, he meets one of these, Ramchandra Dutt, by the way, is his cousin brother. They're all in the family. One was his servant, the other one is his cousin. So they told him, if you are serious about this God business, go and visit this old man, this priest in the Kali temple. He will be able to sort your problem out. They'd heard this wonderful priest in the Kali temple. His reputation had spread, but the reputation was he's a madman. That was the reputation he had acquired, Ramakrishna. The standard, no problem. So they said, go and visit him. He will sort you out. And Narendra said, an illiterate priest in a Kali temple, he doesn't believe in God with form to start with. An illiterate priest in a Kali temple is going to resolve my issue about God. I will study Kant, Schopenhauer, Hegel, Hume, I know all of these. How is he going to stand up to my challenge? No time. They pushed him. They said, look, you are serious? Go and catch him. Talk to him. After prodding, this Narendra decided to visit Ramakrishna in the temple house, in the temple garden. And this is the story. He went with some friends. They saw a man with ordinary clothes, this clothes, sitting on a wooden bench, talking sweetly about God to lots of people sitting on the mat in front of him. Narendra sat, and somebody asked him to sing a song. He was very good at singing. Forget about music, forget about just, developing muscles. He was very good at singing too. So Lokak likes all this stuff. That's why I'm pointing at him. You see, these are the things that he's saying, yeah, good stuff here. This is what everybody should do. Music, yes, play the harmonium, and go to the gymnasium. And Narendra did both. And they asked him to sing, and he started to sing. And he sang something, I'm not allowed to sing, that. He sang something very sweet. He said, "Oh mind, let us go back home. We seem to be in a foreign land, and we lost our way. Maybe we are struggling in this world that doesn't make sense." You see, he was struggling with this world. He was trying to make sense of the human condition. See the standard stuff. And he was struggling. "Oh mind, let us go back to our home. We are in a foreign land where things don't make sense." He was searching for God. And when a person like this sings, it will hit the audience. And Ramakrishna was watching and listening, and he was, of course, very excited by this boy straight away. As soon as the song was over, he jumped up, this Ramakrishna, pulled Narendra by his hand and took him outside the room, in a corner, quiet, isolated part, where nobody could hear them. This is a real story. I told you, I'm not exaggerating any of this. This is well recorded by a lot of people. And this is only 150-year-old story, not thousands of year old story which can be made up or exaggerated. There he took him, pulled him out. Then Ramakrishna folded his hands, bowed down to Narendra and said, "Ah, you have come. At long last you have come. Why were you so late? My ears are burning by listening to all these worldly people talking about their worldly problems. I was waiting for you. Why did you take such a long time? You are the sage Naranarayan Rishi who has come down to earth for the benefit of mankind. And I am very pleased you have come." And he bowed down to him. And Narendra was standing, he's about 18-year-old now, young man, thinking, I have come to see a madman. Complete nuts. This guy is nuts. My name is Narendranath Dutt. I am Vishwanath Dutt's putra, child, and he's calling me Narnarayan. He's completely gone. This man is gone. But he seems to be a nice chap, but except a little bit loose here. But he seems to be a nice man, means well, basically. And that's how we do. When we meet somebody, we are not so sure. We say, he means well. So he means well, but perhaps he's not all there. But the story didn't stop. Ramakrishna quickly went back into his room, and he had kept a little bit of, rasgullas. People will bring from Calcutta, rasgullas, standard stuff. And all the sweets were there in a little pot or something. He took it out. He said, "Open your mouth." You 18-year-old boy, you don't tell him to open mouths and stuff. He said, "Open your mouth." Started stuffing it in. Stuffing. Then I said, "Look, I have enough. Give it to me. I'll share it with my friend." "No, they will have it later on. I must feed you." He was feeding him. You see the love that was pouring out of Ramakrishna to see this disciple is incredible. Real love, real love. He was force feeding the boy. He's saying, stop it. Complete madman here. This is the first meeting where the guru bows down to the disciple. I told you, unusually this Ramakrishna, and unusual is his story. Vivekananda, Narendra thought, wow, unusual fellow, but seems to be gentle and good person. He attracts me. Something about him attracts me. I must come and see him a second time. Before that happened, of course the usual stuff happened. When Ramakrishna had finished one of his talks, he pulled out his arrow and fired at him, saying, "Sir, have you seen God?" Expecting the normal waffle. But here, when he fired one arrow, 2 arrows came back. 2. This Ramakrishna, I told you, was a master. He was the disciple. So he fired 2 arrows back. The first thing that came out of Ramakrishna is, yes, my boy, I can see God more clearly than I can see you. Nobody has used such language. This is the language of experience. God is something that can be experienced in a more dramatic way than me able to experience you. Nobody had used this language. It's not in the Vedas. He comes from a person who has experienced God. Language of this contemporary language is crucial when you meet a God man. It tells you you're dealing with the right person. I can see more clearly than I see you, my boy. And the second thing he added, the second arrow he fired, he said, and I can show him to you. Remember when I said you meet different kinds of God men, some who can see God for themselves, some who can hold our hand and pull us through and show God to us. If you meet any of this one, second rate, never let go, never let go. So Vivekananda was taken aback. He's talking that he can see God more clearly than me. I've not heard that before. I heard also waffle, but this is new one. And he can show him to me, that will make sure, I'm sure that the things are not only just he's making it up, I can see him too. Fantastic stuff here. So the love, the bond was beginning to develop between the master and the disciple. The story doesn't stop there. Dhananda said, I'll go and visit him next time on my own. So again, after a month or so, Narendra again visits Ramakrishna. This time there's nobody in the room. Comes in the middle of the day or something. There's nobody there. Ramakrishna is sitting on his bedstead. He sees Narendra. Is very, very pleased to see him. Come here, sit down next to me. And he sits down. Ramakrishna gets up and does weird things. Starts muttering like that, mutter, wandering around. And Narendra is watching. What funny thing he's going to do next now? Last time he was bowing down to me. What is he going to do next? What drama? He was waiting. 18-year-old boy, he's very sharp. What drama is this old man going to do now? I used to call him old man. This shows real reverence, real oneness. And this Ramakrishna mutter came, muttering, and he touched him. I told you, watch him, don't let him touch. He touched him. And in Narendra's own words, he said, the moment this old man came muttering near me, I didn't know what he was muttering. He muttering and he came and touched me. The moment he touched me, I was sitting firmly on this bedstead, and I could see the walls and the temple and everything. Suddenly everything started to rotate and go fast and faster, round and begin to disappear. The temple, the floor, me, everything began to disappear, whirling and disappearing. And I shouted, stop it, don't you know I've got mommy and daddy at home? So Ramakrishna again touched him. All right, he said. We'll do it some other time. Do you know what had happened? This guy had said, I wish to see God. And Ramakrishna, the second visit, wanted to give it away. In the form of God, this Vivekananda was going to see is not the form with 4 arms. He wants to see the comprehensive God as the whole of this creation. And this is the beginning of the experience. This thing becomes unified. And it's just, Ramakrishna says, I'll give you that straight away. And this boy was not mentally ready. So that's why he said, stop it. And Ramakrishna said, okay, your day will come. And for the time being, no. And as soon as he said it, Swami Vivekananda said, I look around, everything was back to normal. The walls had come back. Things were back to normal. This is if you like, the second visit. Then he came a third time, because you see, now he is glued to this Ramakrishna. He knows something dramatic is happening. He thought this man may be using hypnotism on me. You see, he's thinking in his own Western way. Hypnotism. He's kind of mesmerizing me and doing some weird things on me. But I'm a very strong-willed person. Only weak-willed people can be easily hypnotized. This time I'm going to make sure he doesn't hypnotize me. He came again. You see, he's back for more. This time Ramakrishna took him to the garden, made him sit down under a tree, and again came near him, again touched. The next time he touched, Narendra went into deep meditation, could not recall anything himself. But Ramakrishna later on said, I sent him in deep meditation and asked him questions, and he gave me answers. I asked him where does he come from, for how long will he be on earth, what kind of work has he come to do? And he gave me answers that satisfied me. So he was checking up the credential of the student. He's got the right one. Unusual story, but real story, real story.